does a paper shredder, black leather die, and this pink digital camera have to do with the future of encryption, the future of your privacy, both on and offline? Does your future really come down to writing things on paper or utilizing this camera? Well, possibly, but there are some ways you can pivot out of what's happening to password managers. The data and the information encrypted. Well, encryption has been under attack for a while. A lot of governments want to make it illegal. A lot of backdoors have been installed to a lot of password managers and other softwares. You can go to privacyxproject.com and get the ones I recommend, but I'm gonna show you what I do in this video utilizing this weird concoction of tools and break down a couple other things you can do to keep your passwords in your digital or physical life private, anonymous, and secure. How to become a ghost in a digital world right here in Operation Real Privacy. Big government, big data, and big tech have been working hand in hand for decades now. However, governments and tech companies have been buying big data firms because metadata is a multi-trillion-dollar shadow industry that a lot of people don't even want to talk about. You are the product, you are the commodity, and outside of attention arbitrage, i.e. digital marketing and advertising, this is one of the biggest industries in the world. Now, you won't see the owners on the Forbes list, and you won't see people talking about who the CEOs or who the actual rightful owners of these companies are because they're in ghost businesses. Kind of like what I teach you guys how to do with your life, these companies do with their life for good reason. We're gonna break that down and we're gonna go exactly what you could do because a lot of these password managers have been under attack and a lot of the encryption is not what you think it is, and this is becoming a problem. Also, there's a lot of potential backdoors and a lot of issues with government spying due to laws changing on encryption. Governments across the entire planet have been trying to remove encryption laws for over a decade now, and they keep inching closer. Now, should you use a password? No, never. You should always use a passphrase. Multiple words, multiple capitals, multiple numbers, multiple characters. Password phrases. Are you going to be able to remember all these phrases? Probably not. So you need to put them somewhere. Well, obviously, the best option is pen and paper, but it has its drawbacks. Now, you want to know something's pretty interesting? A lot of the intelligence agencies still use pen and paper, still use only air-gapped machines tied to the printers that they do you. It's not even allowed to be connected to the internet. Do you know why? If they're the federal government, if they're the NSA and the CIA and the FBI, do they know something you don't know? Of course they do. Exactly how easy it is to get this data. So writing things down is valuable. However, fires, floods, or just deterioration, whether you use a pen or a pencil, it really doesn't matter. These can deteriorate. Now, it is decent for a backup copy, but also burglary, somebody breaks in. Now, you've probably seen for a while in the crypto space things like this keystone. So this is a keystone. What's a keystone? Well, it's a hunk of metal, actually, is what it is. You open it up and you put your 24 words in here for your keys. So your keystone becomes your keys for your crypto wallet. Maybe you have a Ledger, maybe you have a Trezor, maybe you have Exodus or a Monero wallet or whatever wallet you have. You can have your keys on here, and this is basically fireproof. You can lock it in, and there's a way to put it all together. And then you'll have your password in there. You can put it in a slick. You can put it in a safe, maybe a fireproof safe. You can put it somewhere safe that is away from your device, and this is great. And this works great in the world of crypto when we're dealing with money and we're dealing with investing and we're dealing with those things. And I recommend using these. I have several of these for every single wallet and place where I store crypto, and I highly recommend this in the world of crypto. But what about for your regular passwords? What about for, if you're gonna do any online banking? What if you're gonna do, I don't know, what if you have some kind of social media? What if you have, what if you have an account with your favorite website? Or what if you have an account with an e-commerce site where you buy stuff? Maybe you store your credit card on file. All these different things, having strong passwords is vital. but maybe you build your own website and you got your own password. Maybe you've got a password to some important stuff or some documents, or you secure some things. What can you do then? Because going out and buying one of these for each time is not feasible. Now, they do make things like this for valuable passwords that instead of the 24 words, you can put the phrases. It's not a bad option, but these can add up quickly. You're gonna be running typically between $50 and $100 per for one of these. So for some of you, that might not be financially realistic for getting these for all your different passwords. So another option, and the one option is you have to keep these in a very safe and secure place, because if somebody gets access to this, that is a problem. If you handwrite things, that's a good option, but if somebody gets access to that, that's a problem. If you keep it in a password manager, that could be a problem with encryption. So what can you do? What's a happy medium? Well, there are a few happy mediums, and we're going to break those down right now. One thing that you're going to want at some level, let me go ahead and unplug this, is an air-gapped hard drive. This is an air-gapped hard drive. We're going to talk more about this here in a second. But what you're going to want to do is, let's say you just set up a new crypto wallet or a new social media account, and you've got all your information and it's on the screen. Or maybe you have an account and it's giving you your backup phrase. Let's say you created a MetaMask, and MetaMask is going to give you a series of words. Now you can download that document. Now, if your computer has ever been exposed to any malware, which statistically over 63% have, but if your computer has ever been exposed to any malware, they just got that document. If somebody has tapped into your Wi-Fi, they can actually intercept that document. And if we're talking about something like your Twitter account, that might be frustrating. But if we're talking about something like your MetaMask, they could drain all your crypto. Or if we're talking about something like one of your other crypto accounts, or if we're talking about maybe your bank. So having this secure is vital. You should never download the file. You should never do any of that. Now, when you're on the site itself, it is going to have a secure socket layer. So you should be good, unless we're talking NSA level hackers. But the second you download any documents, you have a serious problem. Now, what I've always recommended is using Veracrypt, and I still do. But keep in mind, encryption is under attack. So while I still use Veracrypt, and Veracrypt is still very, very good, and I really recommend Veracrypt to everybody, it is under attack. They haven't been able to crack it, and they probably won't, but they're going to try to attack their whole ability to exist. Okay? Whenever the governments can't penetrate something, they try to attack their ability to exist. We've seen that with crypto, we've seen that with encryption, we've seen that with the internet as a whole. So, you take a digital camera. Now, do not use your phone. People always ask me, can I use my phone? No, that defeats the whole purpose. Your phone has been connected to the internet. It has to be a device that has never, ever been connected to the internet. A simple camera like this costs very, very little. This is one I've had forever, just kicking around in drawers. They don't cost anything, and you can pick one up. I highly recommend everyone has a digital camera. Get one that has a good, clean picture. This was right at the end when cameras went from good cameras to smartphones, and the digital camera market started to go the way of the DVD player. Get yourself a good camera. Get yourself an SD card. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to take a picture on the digital camera. We are going to insert the SD card into the hard drive. We are going to boot up the hard drive on air-gapped computer, meaning a computer that is not connected to the internet. Then what we are going to do is we are going to transfer the files to the hard drive. Now, the hard drive itself is encrypted. You can use a host of different hard drives. I do recommend a couple at Privacy X, but you can use a host of different hard drives. Whatever hard drive is encrypted, most of them nowadays can be encrypted. Then what you're going to do is you are going to encrypt the file and put it on the encrypted hard drive. You can encrypt it right there, put it on the hard drive, and you're good to go. Then they have to decrypt the hard drive and the file. Again, the chance of that happening on an air-gapped hard drive is almost none, unless you're like Julian Assange and you have the intelligence agencies pulling you out of bed in the middle of the night. You're going to be pretty good to go. Now, what do you do with the SD card? You run it through your shredder? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. Here's the thing. You need to understand that shredders that cross-shred, so long and crossways, are good. However, the best thing you could do with documents, you see documents in here, the best thing you could do is burn them, okay? Fireplace. But there's millions and millions of people who cannot start a fire. Now, if you can, take a metal wastebasket, like this one right here, and start a fire. That's a good option. Or run it through the shredder, and then you can use Bluer, which is what a lot of people use for dry cleaning bluer, I use black leather dye. I dump it in, mix it around. Why is this? Well, there's a machine called a tumble scanner, which most personal people don't have, but all intelligence agencies have. And basically they can run mountains of these documents through the scanner and piece them all back together in no time flat. It is shocking what they're able to do with these. Why would they do that? Well, again, big data companies, this is very valuable. The second you move your trash cans out front, whether they're your personal trash cans or the city trash cans, they're on public property and it's not illegal to take someone's trash. It is actually not a crime. It's a crime to steal mail. It's not a crime to steal trash. You put your mail through the shredder in the trash. Now it's public record. Well, I shredded it. No, you really didn't, because putting this back together, those really expensive scanners, the tumble scanners and the 360 3D scanners will put this back together in no time flat. Names, addresses, some documents even have socials, banking information, private information. If you are going to use a shredder, make sure you use a dye of some kind. I like leather dye because this blacks it out permanently. And I've talked to a lot of people who've used advanced scanning, and this is one of the few things, this and dry cleaning bluing is some of the few things that actually works. A lot of them will have a negative reaction with the paper. Even so, like ink, you think if you dump a bunch of ink on here, most of the time, there is a faint amount of the text left where they can actually pick it up and it doesn't do anything. So even ink, even the same kind of ink won't work. So you need some kind of dye to actually penetrate the paper. Obviously, this can all be circumvented if you burn it, but millions and millions of people don't have access to make a fire, especially if you live in a big city. So dyeing it and getting rid of it is ideal. Discarding the SD card. So what I recommend is you pick up one of these SD cards for $10 to $15 on a place like Amazon. All your passwords, take photos, encrypt them, put them on your hard drive, then destroy this in a million pieces, because just like printers that could have remnants of the copy still on it, same with SD cards. Even if you've deleted it, there is ways to piece that back together and pull up the file. Same with hard drives. That's why people drill and magnetize hard drives to try to scramble it to the point where they're not able to be rebuilt. Although with the technology, able to rebuild hard drives and SD cards and computer drives and files is shocking nowadays. So keep that in mind, because we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar industry. The amount of tech that these companies have is incredible. And you might think, why would anybody care about my useless documents? It's not that they care about you, it's that they care about the big picture. And this information has a massive price tag attached to it. And imagine if you were able to get your product, you and I are the product, our information, our data is the product, for free. Just a little bit of effort. Now, am I saying that people are walking down the street stealing your garbage every week? Probably not. But is it possible? Yes. Does it happen? It happens a lot more than people think. And if somebody's targeting you, the best way to go after is your garbage. And if you just have random documents that they can put back together, and like all technology, as price comes down, more and more people are going to have access to these scanners. More and more people are going to have access. I mean, when I was a kid, having jammer technology was crazy expensive. Almost nobody had it. Now you can create jammers to jam signals for, a pocket change and a technology store. It's crazy what you can create. You can create, there's cell phone kits where you could create a device to transmit signals. Where, I mean, that would have cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to create a prototype, a couple of decades ago. So as technology comes down, these things become more readily available. And if anybody wants to do you any damage, do you any harm, or somebody wants to take your data, and you're going to see more and more people scraping data from the real world, bringing it to the digital world and making serious money. It's kind of like recycling cans. They're going to recycle your data and they're going to get paid in a big way. So this is what I recommend you do. Encrypt your files. Take a picture of them, put them on an air-gapped hard drive. Nothing ever touches the internet. That way, if you ever need it, you've got it. Now, what I would do is have a couple of different hard drives. Usually, 2 would suffice. You would have one in one location, one in another location. That's how you prevent fires. You can get those cheap fireproof safes and throw one in there. And again, it doesn't matter who gets it, because if you have the standard encryption of today's standards, the chance of somebody unlocking your hard drive is very, very slim. And then they're going to have to unlock the file on top of the hard drive. Not really that likely. That way it's easily accessible for you. You can get on there in a matter of a minute or so. You're just going to have a password to decrypt it. But other people aren't going to be able to get on there, and you're not going to have a password manager that you're trusting that they allegedly have some encryption. and then, you know, mess up your whole situation. So that's what I got to say. Let me know down below what your favorite way to go is. This is the way that I do this. The crypto side, utilize things like the Keystone or other options for your 24 or however many word phrase, 12 word, 24, 25, whatever it is. Good options. For your other passwords, this is a great option to keep your stuff private, safe, and secure. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Putting out new content all the time here on Privacy X. Have an amazing day, guys. Go all into everything you do. Understand that privacy is right and it's right that needs to be protected. And if you don't protect it and I don't protect it, you can bet the big governments and the corrupt corporations will not protect it. So we got to stand together in the fight for privacy and freedom and really all the other things that are going on in the world. Have an amazing day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.